Hello everyone, I'm Paul and this is problem 1722. Minimize Hamming distance after swap operations. This is a medium problem and next I will show you my thought process and efficient solution. We are given two integer arrays, source and target. So let's say that we're given this example. We want to transform source into target. We have another array, allowed swaps, which will tell us which indices in source can we swap. For example, here we have an array with 0, 1. This means that we can swap these two indices. And we need to return the minimum Hamming distance of source and target after any amount of swap operations on source. And here is the definition for Hamming distance. It's nothing but the number of positions where the elements are different. So we want to transform source into target with these allowed swaps. We can swap indices 0, 1 and 2, 3. So we can start by swapping these two indices because we are trying to get the target. Here we have 1, 2 and in target we have 2, 1. After this operation we get an array with 2, 1, 3, 4. And then we can use another operation to swap indices 2 and 3. After doing this, we get 2, 1, 4, 3. And now if we compare this number with target, we start with the same number, 2. Then we have 1 in both cases, then 4, and here is the only different element. In target we have 5, in the current number we have 3, so the difference is 1. The Hamming distance up to this point is 1. And given that this is the minimum Hamming distance that we can get with these allowed swaps, the result in this case is 1. Let's say that we have this array source with the elements 2, 3, and 4, and the allowed swaps are 0, 1, and 1, 2, meaning we can swap these two elements or these two elements. The key observation to solve this problem is that we can swap any two elements that are connected at any level. For example, let's say that we are trying to swap the elements 2 and 4. First, we can swap these two indices and get 3, 2, 4. Then we can swap these two indices, meaning these two, and get 3, 4, 2. And finally, we can swap these two indices again and get 4, 3, 2. Now we have successfully swapped these two elements here. So if two elements are connected at any level, we can swap them. And that's why my first intuition was to use something called union find. In case you know how this works, it has two parts, union and find. For the union part, we are connecting components. And for the find part, we are checking what's the root of the current element, meaning the component the element belongs to. In union find, we start by building an array with the parents of each element. Here we have 3 elements because the length of source is 3, and every element is initially the index of each element in this array. This is index 0, this is 1, this is 2. Why? Well, because this means that this element belongs to component number 0. This element belongs to component number 1, and this element belongs to component number 2 initially. And now we can run the union function with each of these connections. So we run union with 0 and 1, and that's how we connect these two components. Given that these two numbers are different, we can connect them. This means that we can transform this into 1 or we can transform this into 0. It's basically the same here. So let's say that we transform this into 1. And now we can run the union function once again with these two elements, 1 and 2. So now we are connecting component number 1 with component number 2. This means that this becomes 1. And now let's say that we are trying to check if these two indices belong to the same component. For this we can call find using index 0 as the target, and in case you know how this works, we go to parents at the current index 0, and we are checking if this value is equal to the target. Given that they are different, we call find again using this as the target. So next we go to parents at index 1, and here the value is 1. Given that these two values are equal, the result is 1. So the result of this call is 1. And we can do the same with this index. We call find using 2 as the target. And for this we go to parents at index 2. And here we have a 1. Given that these two numbers are different, we need to call find again using 1 as the target. So next we go to parent at index 1, and here we have 1. Given that these two numbers are equal, the result of this call is 1. And given that these two numbers are equal, this means that these two indices belong to the same component. Now, going back to the problem, if we have these allowed swaps, we can build two components. One with the indices 0, 1, another one with the indices 2, 3. There's no way to connect these two components, so we have two in total, and we will say that this is component number 1, this is component number 2, and we are keeping track of this with a map. So we have two keys, 1 and 2. We will say that the value for component number 1 is an array with the corresponding numbers. Here we have the numbers 1 and 2, and then here in component number 2, the numbers are 3 and 4. And now we can iterate every index from left to right, starting from index 0. And remember that we are trying to make the source equal to the target, but 1 is different from 2. Now, these two numbers are different, but maybe we have some number in this same component which is equal to the current number in the target. And as you can see here, we have a 2. This means that we could swap the two elements and get a 2 at this index. So we are good to go. We can continue with the next index. Next we are here, so we do the same. We know that number 2 belongs to component number 1. So maybe in this component we have a 1, which is what we need here. And we have a 1, so now we can continue with the next index. 3 belongs to component number 2, and we are looking for a 4. Given that here we have a 4, we can continue, and finally we are here. 4 belongs to component number 2, and we are looking for a 5. Given that here we don't have a 5, we add 1 to the result, and in this case we return this. Now this happens to be correct for this example because we don't have repeated numbers, but let's say that we have this instead. Now let's say that this is the target. If we go from left to right, we start here. We know that this index belongs to component number 1, and we are looking for a 2 in this component. Given that here we have a 2, we could continue. Next we are here. We know that this index belongs to component number 1 also, and we are looking for a 2. Here we have 2, so maybe you're thinking about keep going. But this is wrong. Why? Well, because here we have 1, 2, but we need 2 number 2. This means that we do care about the frequencies in each component. We care about how many 1s and how many 2s do we have in component number 1. So for each component we can have a nested frequency map. In this component we have 1 number 1 and 1 number 2. In this component, in component number 2, we have 1 number 3 and 1 number 4. Now this is the final approach. If we go from left to right, we start here, and we know that this index belongs to component number 1. So we are looking at this map, and we need a number 2, so we go to 2, and the count is 1. We have 1, 2 available. If we use it, the new count is 0, and we can continue with the next index. Next we are here. We know that this index belongs to component number 1, so we are looking at this map, and we need a 2. But here we have 0 2's available. This means that we need to add 1 to the result, and now we can continue with the next index. As you can see, here we have 1, 2, and here we have 2, 2. So it's reasonable to have 1 in the result. Next we are with this index, and we know that it belongs to component number 2. So we are looking at this map, and we need 1 number 4. Here we have 1, 4 available, so the new count is 0, and we can continue. Next we are here. We know that this index belongs to component number 2, and we need a 5. So we are checking if we have 1, 5 available in this map. And given that we don't, we add 1 to the result, and this is 2. Now we have already iterated every index, so we can return 2. Time complexity for this approach is roughly big O of n plus m, because n is the length of these two arrays, source and target, and m is the length of allowed swaps. We have to iterate this in order to run our union find. And operations in union find require roughly big O of 1 time complexity. They are very fast. So this is roughly big O of n plus m time complexity and big O of n space complexity. Why? Well, because we need an array parents for union find of size n, and this map has a size of n also. So with this in mind, let's see how to code this up. First, we can build the class for union find. So we go up here and say class uf. This takes a constructor, so we use init in Python with self and some amount of indices. First, we need an array for parents, so self.par is equal to an array with I for I in range n. Remember that every element belongs to its own component initially. And now we need two methods, find and union. Let's start with find. This takes self and some number which we'll call x. And here we can say if not self.parent x equals x, we need to recursively call find until we find the parent. So self.parent x is now equal to self.find with self.parent x. And finally we can return self.parent x. Now for union, this takes self and two numbers, a and b. First we need to get the parents of a and b, so parent a is equal to self.find with a, and parent b is equal to self.find with b. Now we can check if parent a is different from parent b, self.parent at parent a is now equal to parent b. We are merging these two components, and you could do the opposite also. Here you could say parent b is equal to parent a. It's basically the same. You could do another thing, which is to use a ranking system. That would be slightly more efficient, but that's not necessary in this case. This is enough. Now we can say that n is the length of source. Union find is equal to an instance of our class uf with n as the size. And for a and b in allowed swaps, we can say uf.union with a and b. So now we have all the components and we can build the groups. Remember that this is a nested map. So here we use a default dictionary in Python with a default value of another dictionary. So we can use lambda with default dictionary, and here we use a default value of 0 for every key because each of these is a frequency map. Okay, and now we can say for I in range n, every time groups at the current component. For this we take union find.find and the current index. That's how we get the current component at the current number in source. For this we take source I plus equal 1. We add 1 to the corresponding count. That's how we build our final map. Now with this we can get the result, which is initially 0, and we can say for I in range n, the current group is groups at the current component. For this we take union find.find at the current index, and the current target is equal to target I. So we can say if the current group at the current target is greater than 0, meaning if we have the number available, we can subtract 1 from the corresponding frequency map, so group at target minus equal 1. Else, meaning if we don't have the target available, we need to add 1 to the result. And after all of this, we can return result. So this is the entire code. Let's submit this and see if it works. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So If you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.